Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're gonna be reviewing another game. It's the game that I played yesterday. It was quite a. I played a great match here. My opponent was not really challenging, but it was a great game because on how I played the game, not because how my opponent responded, but he actually played good. So it wasn't like a boring game or maybe a game where I just took advantage and start to win. It was a game. It was kind of a challenging one. I can say just that my opponent kind of lost in the middle game. So let's get into it and see actually what happened. I first started with the Scandinavian defense. Of course, it was not accepted. Then I pushed my pawn to f5 from c8 to f5. My opponent pushed their pawn from the queen's pawn to g4. Then I pushed my king's pawn to e5 to e6. My opponent pushed the pawn on the h file to h3. Then I develop my knight from b8 to c6. Then my opponent developed the knight 2. Then I pushed the pawn on f7 to f6, looking to attack to break this pawn. I don't know, it's a pawn structure. It's a pawn structure, but it's a two-pawn structure. I was looking to break that pawn structure there, but my opponent actually didn't accept my pawn. Then I took. This was a mistake. It's not a mistake that really affects the game, but it changes the advantage. Like from this mistake, white gains advantage only if white capitalizes on the advantage, but white didn't capitalize on the advantage. It kind of like went back and didn't attack more. So of course, it took with the knight from f3 to e5. Then I developed my knight from g8 to e7. Then he pinned my knight to the queen. It's not really that kind of a pin because I can move my queen and my knight will still be protected. I can move my queen anywhere and my knight will be still protected by the king and the bishop. So it's not really that kind of a pin because I can't move my knight, but I can move my queen. That's what I'm trying to say. Then I pushed my queen to d6. I'm going to unpin myself. Of course, I did unpin myself. Then my opponent actually accepted the knight. This is kind of a mistake because it changes the advantage. Should have kept the pressure there on the knight, keeping that check. But if you are attacking someone and you are sacrificing your pieces, you are actually disadvantaging yourself from attacking. You sacrifice pieces when it's necessary. Don't sacrifice pieces when you're attacking someone if you're not then. If you're still at an advantage, sacrifice pieces when it's necessary to win the game. So, and sacrificing a knight for a bishop is kind of in my opinion, a knight is stronger than a bishop. A bishop is stronger than a knight because it has more movement than the knight. Like it controls the diagonals. So the knight doesn't really control any squares, but the bishops control the diagonals. So that's why what I mean when I say, in my opinion, I feel like the bishop is stronger than the knight. Of course, I took back with my bishop. I didn't want to move my king. I want to take with the king. Kind of a mistake or an inaccuracy taking with the king. And now I have two bishops and my opponent has two knights. And when we're like in the middle game, the strongest pieces are the two bishops than to the knight. So now I can sacrifice my knight and now I'll have two bishops and my opponent of two knights. So I feel like I'll be in the stronger position because bishops have more access than the knights. They're worth the same points, but I mean their movement, the bishops are more strong. My opponent moved queen to f3. Don't know, it wasn't really attacking my bishop, kind of a move, just a move. Then I castled this short castling, of course. Not going to attack the queen somewhere. And I didn't want to attack it same time. I wanted to attack it maybe in the next moves. But the reason I castled wasn't because I wanted to attack the king. I wanted to unpin my king from the knight because I was looking to take the pawn on d4 with the knight. That's why I castled it. This was just part of the plan, but it wasn't really the plan of me castling. Then my opponent saw that, then he moved this queen to g3. Then I took the free pawn. It's a free pawn. You have to take the free pawn. Every time I have the opportunity of a free pawn, take the free pawn. And some people don't really have the worth of a pawn, but pawn really matters, especially in the end game. So if you are in the middle game and you're sacrificing your pawns for no reasons, that's going to affect you in the end game. So don't sacrifice your pawns. Pawns are very important in the end game. You're not sure if you're going to get into the end game when you're playing a game, but just play for the end game. Just in case you get there, now you have lost your pawn and your opponent has more pawns, so you lose like that. You see, that's why I move the queen to g3. It's a blunt. You're losing a full pawn. It's not really, it doesn't seem like a strong piece, but it really is a strong piece in the end game. My opponent pushed back with the bishop to a4, looking to protect that pawn there because I was going for a fork of the king and the rook. Then I took anyway with my other bishop, my white diagonal bishop. I took it and then I can't take because I'm gonna fork the king and the rook. This is actually an okay move. It's not a great move, but it's an okay move because it protects the fork, or it protects you from losing a bishop, but you lose the knight at the same time. But it's not like a blunt. If you think, oh, we played queen to c3, it's a blunt. It's not a blunt. This move is not a blunt, but it loses a piece, but it's not a blunt. I took the knight, of course, with a check. Then my opponent moved to f1, which is an inaccurate move. The best move here was to cover with the queen, moving queen to this square, e3. That was the best move because this is it's a mate in 4. It's actually a mate in 4. There's nothing you can do from this point. But this could have delayed the game. I will be still winning, but it will be delaying the game a little. You'll still have a fighting chance, but after we move king to f1, it's over. There's nothing you can do. I just play queen check, queen to e2 with a check move, then I play again, take the pawn there because the queen is protected by the knight, the rook. You see, an open fire rook is very strong. The rook that is open, there are no disturbance, it's very strong. So I took that pawn with a check, which the king moved to h2, then I play check with the bishop. You see, when I say bishops are stronger than the knights, if I had the knights instead of the bishops, I'll still be struggling to get the checkmate. When I say, in my opinion, bishops are stronger than the knights because they actually get to places faster than the knights. The knight will have to jump 3 times, 2 times to go to where they want to go. They're really strong in the middle game, but in the end game, they're really weak. So that's my opinion. Some people prefer knights, but I just feel like bishops are stronger than knights, in my opinion. But I think in most people's opinion, they feel like bishop is stronger than the knight. 2 bishops, not one, not a single bishop. I'm talking about 2. Even a single bishop is stronger in the end game, where it's only a bishop and a knight and a king and some pawns. It's stronger if you force your opponent to put their pawns in the same squares as your bishop, in the same square as your bishop. Like you have a black bishop, you force your opponent to put the pawns on the black squares only. That's how strong it is when I mean strong in the end game versus a knight. But if your opponent puts them in the enter square, then you're weak because the knight can actually move anywhere. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. My opponent blocked with the queen to g3. Of course, that's a mate. Just take mate in one. So this is how the game actually played. My opponent had an advantage at first in the beginning, but in the middle game he lost kind of a tempo. He let me into the game, so I took advantage and attacked endlessly. Look at my pieces that are attacking. Two of my bishops, all like actually my pieces that work in the middle game are all attacking. So use all your pieces. If you have the opportunity to use them, use all of your pieces. Include the rooks if you can. That will actually put you in advantage of winning and actually improving. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, share, like, and see you next time. Bye bye.